Hello everybody, and just here, and welcome to Isekai. Welcome to Tensei Shitara. Tensei Shitara Ken Deshita. Reincarnated as a sword. The Sword Sekai series, I guess you could call it. I know nothing about it, besides the fact that it's an isekai, and the main protagonist gets reincarnated as a sword, and some cat girl finds him and uses him to fight. That's basically all I know about this series. It sounded interesting, certainly. That's why I'm picking it up. It certainly doesn't sound like your everyday regular isekai where the dude gets reincarnated into a new world with ultra all-powerful abilities, the god-slaying sword of gods, and the mantle of demons of darkness of night, and what have you. So hopefully we will see some originality. I don't know how much exactly, because the trend of reincarnating people as items also started becoming a trope. I don't know how early in that trope Sword Sekai is exactly, so I don't know how much of it is fully original and how much of it is borrowed from other series that share the same trope, that share the same idea, the same gist of it. What else can I say about it? People seem to enjoy it. From what I gather during the live stream that I held, that should be linked somewhere in the card in the corner, because I decided on the on the seasonals that I'm gonna be watching this time around during that live stream. So go check it out if you want. People seem to like it, at least the source material. We don't know how good the adaptation is, but I'm gonna give it a shot. This season is going to be a little heavy in content because in total I'm gonna be watching 7 shows, 7 days a week. It's quite a lot for me, honestly. I like to have one day free, one buffer day, so to speak. That's why this show, if it turns out to be bad, is potentially up for a chopping block, or potentially up for, I don't know, dropping it temporarily and then coming back to it on during some lighter season. Not just this show, mind you. There's a few others in the same category. The only shows I'm gonna be the only seasonals I'm gonna be watching, for sure, are the Gundam, Witch from Mercury, and Eminence in Shadows. Unless that one also drops the ball and turns out to be garbage, so I'm gonna drop that one instead. We'll see. We are still early in the season. I'm still playing a little bit of a catch-up with all that's coming out. I still haven't reacted to the first episode of Witch from Mercury, only to the prologue. But yeah, let's not talk about that one, let's talk about this one, and there is nothing really to talk about because I have no clue what it is. I just know it's an isekai, and I mean, it's a seasonal. Every season is heavy in isekais, that's just how it is. And my channel also has isekais every season, I think. Was there a season of anime on my channel where I didn't watch an isekai? Can't remember, honestly. I would have to check that. But yeah, Isekai as a sword. Let's just watch it. Let's just watch it. You're gonna need a timer to sync up your own copy. I'm gonna need sound to hear what's going on. And I'm also gonna have to ask you for your support. Support the channel monetarily, Patreon, Throne. If you want. If you don't want to pay, just share my content, spread the word. That really does help the channel as well. And with that out of the way, we can start watching Sword Sekai episode 1 in 3, 2, 1, go. Isekai by truck. Isekai by truck. The classic way. The music is good, though. The music is genuinely fire. Okay. Okay, that got me hyped a little. A miracle of reincarnation. Also, I'm drinking carbonated yerba mate with orange. And it's actually great. Sounds weird, carbonated tea, right? But it works. Who's that? The god? Probably the god of reincarnation. The face is CG. I don't know if the rest of the sword is. Probably, but you can't exactly wield yourself. Ah, yes. Gamification. I fucking hate gamification. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's one thing when it's a story, when someone gets sucked into the game, then it works. But it's just a generic fantasy world. Why do you have menus? Like, I know this voice actor though. Okay, so it has the capability of wielding himself somewhat. Gotcha. That's cool. I was afraid he's gonna be like completely useless without a wielder. And of course, monsters have gems inside of them, and by killing monsters, he gets XP. What the fuck is going on with my camera? I had the same issue during the live stream. It would suddenly flashbang everybody. Okay, so kill 100 enemies to level up. You can acquire new skills, I'm assuming. Okay, so another anime where killing enemies lets you acquire their abilities. Being self-aware of tropes and still using the tropes isn't the same as automatically subverting them, I'm afraid. And you can use only 10 of them at once, or something along those lines. I've been killing slimes for 300 years, or something along those lines, except it's goblins. Black Cat, unlucky. This kind of an association. She was hit in the back of the head. Why is she bleeding on the front? Oh well, let's not question it. Bleeding on the front has more effect. And suddenly sword. Okay, I guess that nullifies his issue. Of course. Of course. We are immediately nullifying whatever issues there might be. What ability does this one have? Mana regen? Yeah, probably. Yeah, I can see. Menus aren't interesting. Is that Itami's voice actor? Itami from Gate? That scream sounded similar. You'd wonder why they haven't taken over the world by now, if they have so many skills. Okay, so now it can set itself ablaze. Probably, when we eventually get to that part. A slave collar or something. And that was my black cat. Why are you meowing? Beasts who can't evolve. Interesting. What is that about evolution? Because of the color or because of being a beast? So far, it looks to me like it's because of the color. Bipedal boars pulling the carriage. Well, they have some imagination, if nothing else. Interesting. Of course, it has self-repair. Also, why would the monsters be growing stronger as they're getting away from the pedestal. Seems extremely main character centered. Literally like the center of the world. It's a slime. I'm not reading all of that. Okay, maybe on the rewatch when we step through it step by step, but not right now. And done. Indeed. Yeah, that's a lot of corrosion, for sure. And that's a lot of points. Okay, well, that's not an issue anymore. Scale duplication. It just duplicates his body, not doesn't create a second sword. On one hand, cool that it doesn't create a second sword. On the other, it's probably for a reason, and he's gonna get a very good mileage out of being able to create a specter of himself. The music's good, but can we just skip this part, honestly? Like, start the anime off with the main character already having like 50 skills. It's not gonna make any difference whatsoever in the end. Good, no more fighting, please. I can't believe I'm saying that, but no more fighting, please. I had enough. No skills are working? Okay, finally something remotely interesting is going on. And that's where the cat girl is going to find him, I'm assuming. I'm assuming that's gonna come in useful, and so will this. I mean, statistically, someday someone is going to find him. We know it's gonna be the cat girl, sure, but even if not her, then someone. And what do you know? The situation seems just right. What's with the monster design in this series and damaged eyes? The not kobolds, the goblins had damaged eye. This bear has a damaged eye. Yeah, the one who created the spell is dead, so the spell is no longer. The spell is no more. Yeah, but you can't do anything with a stick. Thankfully, there just so happens to be a really fucking powerful sword nearby. And a beam of light, of course. God raised doing God's work, pointing to the most powerful weapon. You're gonna get power. Your fellow slaves are just being consumed as we speak. You might have been able to save a couple of them. I guess no longer the case. Swing it side to side. And I guess he's no longer stuck in the ground, so he can regenerate mana now. Expert Butcher, Wayfinder. Okay. Oh, they did something very interesting here. Something very interesting. With her hands. Palms of her hands are CG, and so is the sword. And the cuffs, the remains of her thing, are masking the connection between the 2D body and the CG palms. At least in that one scene. Okay. Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing here. Actually, props. Like, genuinely. Mad props for finding a way to make it look more natural. Well, you can just kill him. Break it. I thought the collar stopped working after that other dude died. Apparently not, though. Or was it just the command that stopped working? That's actually some decent CG. Okay, what's the deal with that evolution thing? And why is it just black cats that cannot evolve? I'm assuming other cats can? So he's gonna give her one, probably. Oh no, an old name. Fran. Okay. Are you perhaps a family with a certain four-handed doctor? Use your human name? Shishou. Okay, I mean, Shishou works. Like, genuinely a really good name for a weapon. And we're headed towards the capital. Probably. Sure looks like a capital. And a goblin army is attacking. What a coincidence. A hellish trial at the Adventurers Guild. The trial will probably be having to fight in the goblin invasion. Shinichiro Miki is the voice actor for Shisho. We're gonna look up the staff, the studio, and everything. So we're gonna see what's the deal here. Ending theme. I'm glad it's playing right now. The sound of silence. Do, 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 do. Okay. Oh no, we still have a few seconds. Are they actually gonna show something? Some piece of fan art or something? Or no, just a black screen. Okay. That's fine. Okay, so, as usual, let's go through it again, shall we? The entire first half of this episode can just be skipped, honestly. Yeah, he woke up. Gamification, I fucking hate it. I absolutely loathe gamification. It's probably my least favorite element of any isekai that isn't actually set in a game. Menus in the air make sense in Log Horizon. Menus in the game make sense in SAO. Uh, Menus in the air, right? They make sense in Log Horizon. They make sense in SAO. They make sense in Overlord. You could argue they even make sense in Shield Hero, because in at least 3 realities, this world, the world of Shield Hero, is a world from a game. So it kind of sort of does make sense. But this has nothing to do with a game, so why the fuck are there menus flying in the air? I don't know. I don't know. Why is HP and mana like numerical values? Why do abilities have levels? Why? Like, you could make it work. Don't get me wrong. You could absolutely make it work to some degree. Right? You could have a system in world system of classifying magic. Right? You could even have some gem or something that allows you to check what magic another person has, and you could see that okay, that person has the ability to create a ball of fire and throw it. Spells that do that are usually classified as a fireball class, so it is a fireball spell, and the energy of that fireball is 500. Let me find some fancy word. Wapaka Bujeri leaf extract. Okay, Bujeri. That fireball has 50 mega Bujeris of power, and 50 mega Bujeris of power sets it right in the middle at level 5. To reach level 5, it would have to reach 70 mega Bujeris of power. Right? You could make it work. Absolutely, and you don't need the fucking menus. You could make the level of a person work. Sure. If you know 7 skills that average level 5, you are assumed to be level 18. For example, right? You have it in your registry at Adventurers Guild that you have enough knowledge and enough power to be considered level 18 adventurer. You could make it work in world without menus. You absolutely could. This, I think it's just lazy. Honestly, I think the approach of creating menus in isekais, in manga, light novels, anime, is just lazy. You don't have to think of a system like what I just pulled completely out of my ass. You don't have to think of that. You don't have to implement that, because you can just show a status window on the screen and you know everything. It's just lazy, and I don't like it. And yeah, the voice in his head, the ability to pick and choose skills, the no. Like, it could again work that you kill a monster, the sword kills a monster, and thus the sword gains its abilities. But you don't need a window for that. You just have the sword say, oh, I feel like I could cast a fireball right now, for example, right? And that would work. But apparently not. Skill bank. You can use 10 skills at once. Why don't you make it so that, oh, I used 10 skills so far, and oh no, I can't use the skill I learned. What the fuck is the deal with that? Maybe there is a limit to how many skills I can choose. But now, how do I unlearn a skill so that I can replace it with something else? You don't need this. You don't need in-game menus for that. Also, the face is animated on once. Something I noticed. It's very smooth and very kind of out of place because of that. Because yeah, the little emote is animated on 3s. Face is animated on 1s. The turn is also animated on 1s. A dead giveaway that it's CG. But, and I think I see what they did here. they're not actually using lighting. That's why it works. That's why it looks 2D. They're not using lighting. Because if you have a 3D model and you light it from a certain angle and you turn the model around, all of the highlights, all of the shadows will shift frame by frame. Every frame they will look different. And that's a very usually a dead giveaway of something being CG. In this case, all the highlights, all the shadows are a part of the texture of this 3D model. All the lines, all the highlights, everything is a part of the texture. So it looks good and proper. It looks 2D, because there's no big abrupt shifts from frame to frame. On some elements, sure, you can see on the left those little decals near its mouth. They are shifting a little. The shadows and the highlights, sure. But on the majority of the sword, nothing changes as it turns. You also have those very artistic highlights on the decal on the left, where you have the highlight broken up with a bit that isn't a highlight. Normally, if you were to light it up from that angle, the whole thing would be white. But in this case, it's artistic. It's drawn. And that really does create a very strong image of the whole thing being drawn. If they cut the frames in half, from 24 down to 12, this would have worked even better. Digging, disassembly, sword mastery, club mastery, command, survival, kobold killer. And yeah, it can stab, it can absorb more skills, because of course it can. The cat girl wants more power. And yeah, oh, we have a downside. I can use my telekinesis only for a short while. Oh, what is that? A mana drain skill? How convenient. How convenient. Oh, what is that? A skill that allows me to have more mana? Ha ha ha, would you look at that? I was looking for something like this. Yeah, of course, tragic backstory to the cat girl, because of course. Oh, the sword is getting broken up. If only there. Oh, would you look at that? There is a skill that allows him to regenerate, but it takes some mana, so it can't be used all the time. Of course, you can't fully rely on that. Oh, he's really badly broken up. It's gonna take time to repair, wouldn't it? Oh, would you look at that? Talk about timing. Instant repair. Pocket dimension sucked up the slime remains. I'm assuming it's gonna come in useful eventually. Nothing in isekais happens without a reason. Honestly, if a main character of an isekai story picks up a funny looking rock in like chapter 2, that rock is gonna turn out to be like the eye of the demon god by the time chapter 70 is released. That's just how it works. That's just how it works. Whenever you see some bullshit random skill that a character acquires, it's never actually a bullshit random skill. It's always super useful and it's gonna save the day eventually. Like, if the sword picked up the skill of knitting and oh no, I accidentally raised my knitting skill to level 10, you can be damn fucking sure there's gonna be a boss encounter or someone who's only going to be persuaded to help if they knit them a scarf. And the knitting skill of level 10 is going to come useful then. That's just how it works. See, this example, I was excited to get doppelganger ability, but it turned out to be pretty weak. It's just a specter of a man, of a naked man, how I looked before I get reincarnated, I get isekai'd. Of course it's gonna come in useful. It's not a joke skill. I mean, it might be, but it's also gonna come in useful. They are gonna convince someone there's ghosts around. They're gonna scare someone out. They're gonna use it as a distraction. It's gonna come in useful, because of course it will. Yeah, earth magic, killing monsters. I don't care. Genuinely. Genuinely. This slime had like a lot of text on it. I guess I could read it. Gluttonous Slime Lord. It's just a list of skills. I don't give a fuck. There was some like appraise. He did appraise some monster. I think there was a lot of text on like the right side. Yeah, this. Identify creature. Of course, he has identification abilities. Final evolution of a gluttonous slime consumes every living thing in its vicinity and grows exponentially without limit, stores away defeated prey in a pocket dimension for later consumption, making it capable of some degree of space-time magic. Some speculate it's capable of preying upon dragons when there are no smaller creatures to consume kingdoms, dispatch entire squadrons to deal with this threat. Crystal location, center of its mass. Nothing particularly important or thrilling. Dragon, whatever, of course it's gonna die really easily. Everything's just a child's play for it. Registered wielder, none. Race intelligent weapon. Wielder stat boost, yada 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 yada. This is like the first interesting thing that happened throughout the entire episode so far, and it's minute 14. It's past half point of the episode, and finally some sort of a setback. The ground apparently saps mana, and he's gonna stick around because he has to, because he can fly away, because he has no mana. Cool. Something interesting. Thank you. Explains why there are no monsters. There has to be a connection between mana and monsters. Perhaps mana is like the life force of monsters. Maybe some other mechanic like that is at play, right? I'm getting invested, I'm getting interested. What's the deal with this particular area sapping mana? What's the deal with monsters being susceptible to mana drain, right? Randomly leveling skills, but of course it's not randomly leveling skills. It's probably gonna turn out that cooking skill level 10 allows you to create fucking what were those foods they eat at Olympus called ambrosia and something else. I don't know. Cooking skill level 10 allows you to create ambrosia that gives you invulnerability for like an hour. Probably something along those lines. Again, there are no joke skills in isekais. There are no bullshit skills. Everything has a reason. On one hand, I kinda like it about isekais, because they always find some sort of a creative way to use even the most bullshit skills. On the other, I don't, because it completely removes any sort of fluff, right? A cooking skill cannot ever be just about cooking. It has to be a solution to a 17th floor of a dungeon, right? Knitting skill can't ever be about being able to knit a really cool scarf. It has to be about creating a scarf that has plus 17 defense and fire resistance, right? On one hand, cool. On the other, I'm kinda getting fed up with it, honestly. New fire spell, of course, still acquiring brand new spells and whatnot. convenient attack on the caravan. I love those boars though. Isekais are sometimes really one of the most imaginative shows, one of the most imaginative mangas and light novels, and bipedal horned boars that are used as carriage animals are up there when it comes to imaginativeness. That's extremely imaginative. Don't you run by a sentai by giving him a snack? He says, and he never runs himself. Because why? Yeah, suddenly a sword. That's cool. Kind of wasting time here. Although I guess she never was particularly close with the other slaves. I don't know. I don't know their relationship. Maybe she was, maybe she wasn't. In this scene, both the sword and her hands are drawn. Still, but here it changes. And you can see that very clearly. You can see that very clearly when you look at her hands. The line work is different. It's ever so slightly thicker, it's ever so slightly darker, and there's no variation in thickness of the... Well, there is some variation, but not the kind of variation you would expect. The sword is for sure CG because the line work is very thin. The shader they are using just has a constant thickness of the line work, I'm assuming, so that when the sword is up close, then the line work is the same thickness as the line work of the rest of the show, but when the sword is far away, then the line work automatically becomes thinner. But the palms of her hands are CG. Let me see it move. Does it move here? No, we just get a cut. I think it moves later, though. But yeah, why am I mentioning that? Because it's cool. Like, genuinely, a studio that cares about how CG interacting with 2D works, how it looks. Very often, it doesn't look great, because you can't really have CG objects interacting with 2D objects in a convincing manner. This helps solve that issue, because the palms of her hands are CG and they are interacting with a CG sword. CG on CG works. And then they're using the cuffs to mask the transition between CG palms and to the rest of the hand. So you don't see the transition. It's masked. So it also works. Because there's no interaction between CG palms and drawn forearm. It's blocked by the cuffs. It's a really cool way to solve this issue. Honestly. Did we need the flashback though? Skill sharing activated. Yada 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 yada. I witnessed her swing that sword. Now in here it's both her and her hands and the sword are 2D, are drawn. I guess they don't use that trick all the time. Yeah, it's 2D. All of it is 2D right now. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that's 2D. And of course she gained a lot of skills, and of course she won. And the bad dude gets his comeuppance because the sword can control itself. Contract is burned, and now she's free, and she can take the sword and go on to fight, and she wants to be strong, and she wants to evolve, because no black cat has ever evolved. Why? What's the deal with that? I don't know, but I'm interested. And she has a name, Fran. And the sword now also has a name, Shishou. Shishou and Fran, traveling the world. This is a cool shot. The parallax effect on them. I think some of those goblins are copy-pasted. Maybe not. I'm honestly not sure, and I don't particularly care much about taking a more in-depth look at this scene. But I love that you can actually see this like pseudo 3D effect on it, thanks to the parallax, thanks to the goblins that are further away, moving slightly differently from the goblins that are close up. Really creates a cool effect without the use of CG. It's just layered 2D drawings, layered transparent PNGs, essentially. Cool. Kind of a pity that it started being cool only from like halfway point, and the entirety of the first half could have been skipped. Honestly, I can only hope the rest of the series is gonna hold up. Probably, like, I don't know the light novel, but usually the thing is, the way it usually looks is this first episode is probably like a whole volume of the light novel crammed into 24 minutes. Wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me if the light novel had much more character development for the cat girl and spent much more time with her, spent much more time with the sword, and had much more of everything, right? But as I always say, I can only judge the anime by its own merit, not by the merit of accompanying media, so to speak. And the entire first half could have been skipped because it was just monster skill, monster skill, monster skill, monster skill. Downside solution, downside solution, problem solution, problem solution, problem solution. I got absolutely nothing out of the first half. I'm not gonna remember all the skills. Actually, I don't even give a fuck about those skills. Whatever the sword is gonna use in the future, I'm just gonna take it at face value. I'm not gonna keep a list of all the skills that he has and be all like, actually, he doesn't have water jet skill. He must have acquired it out of camera. No, he uses water jet. I'm just gonna say, okay, cool, he has water jet. So the entire first half is completely useless to me. Could have been skipped. It brings nothing to the table. Absolutely nothing. Okay. That's. I said my piece, I guess. Now. That's window capture. How about we do display capture now? Or window capture? Is that gonna work? There we go. Perfect. Okay, I guess I can take off my headphones now. And we can take a look at people responsible for that. Let's start with the studio. C2C. I don't know this one. Producers, NBC Universal Entertainment Japan. Not familiar with those either. Recommendations: Tensei Shitara Slime, of course, Kumo desu ga, Tensei Shitara Slime, Tensei Shitara Slime. Gaikotsu Kishi-sama. Gaikotsu Kishi-sama was interesting because they also tried using CG in interesting ways. Episode 2 discussion. Is episode 2 already out? Damn, I'm behind. I. Unless it's like preemptive. C2C, what did they make exactly? Well, they are going to make Edoma Elf, whatever that is. Benria Saito-san Isekai ni Iku, whatever that is. The dude looks modern. And Shangri-La Frontier. Out of curiosity, Benria-san, handyman dude transported to an isekai world. Cool premise. Actually, why not? When it airs, I might watch it if there are no better shows in that season. Shangri-La Frontier. Game that wasn't crap, of course. VR game. Games that can't keep up with state-of-the-art VR are called crap games, so Ksoge probably. Uh, Large number of Ksoge coming out, and people devote their lives to clearing those Ksoge, and the dude is one of them. He chose Shangri-La Frontier, God tier game that has a total of 30 million players. But maybe he's not gonna get isekai. Maybe he's just gonna be playing the game. That also happens sometimes. And it looks like he's gonna be a Birdman, which is going to be at least slightly interesting. Okay, but let's not talk about that. Studio C2C, what did they make in the past? That's what I want to know. Something I don't know, Puraore. Tsukiga Michibiku Isekai Dochu. I heard of that, but I haven't seen it. Shacho Battle no Jikan Des. No clue. Majon Maho no Tabitai. I have heard of this one. But I haven't seen it. So, can't say. Hitoribochi. Some recognizable name. Harakana receive, Shimatsu nani shitemasu ka ish yada yada yada. Aquarian logos. Aquarian, interesting. Onechan ga kita. Euromates 3D. Nothing of particularly high pedigree, so to speak. Some cool, cute projects, mostly isekais from what I see. Most of them probably utilize CG to some degree. Very similar situation as with Gaiko Tsukishi-sama. Gaiko Tsukishi-sama is another series that was made by fairly low notoriety studios, Studio Kai and Hornets. Studio Kai just did some Uma Musume, some random sports anime, some Idol Master, and not all that much besides that. And the same goes for Hornets, who just did Somali and Gaiko Tsukishi-sama. So another that's interesting, and I hope that continues being a trend. A low-profile studio who's trying to utilize CG in an interesting way to perhaps solve their issues with low budget, but at the same time trying to not sacrifice particularly much quality. I can get behind that. And I have a feeling that it's going to be studios like this that actually progress CG in anime, that actually create something that will show that it can work. Because of all of the AAA anime studios, let's be honest, they don't have to care, right? When they release another season of, I don't know, Boruto Next Generations or Boruto Shippuden or whatever, and they make it complete garbage CG, like Kemono Friends levels. Don't get me wrong, I did love Kemono Friends, but you can't argue that the CG was all that good. And people are still gonna watch it, so they don't have to give a fuck. The small studios do. And they can actually drive that forward. NBC Universal, they seem to be mostly isekais. Mahotsukai Reimeki, Nonin Kanaren, Shikakumon no Saikyo Kenja, that's an isekai. Tensei Oji, that's an isekai. Ganbare Doki-chan, okay, that's interesting. Getsuyobi no Tawawa, another isekai. Gochi Usa, Akudama Drive, Golden Kamui, King's Raid. Now, sure, the producer doesn't really matter all that much, but it can be fun checking them out as well. And now, let's leave the VAs at the end. Let's check out, the staff. I'm interested. Original story, original character design. That's a cool profile picture. Is that Shadman? Original story. What else did he write? He really... Oh, I was about to say he really does like his cat girls, but it's all sword sekai. Another wish. Okay. and some other, probably also isekai manga. And the character designer also designed characters for Machine Doll. Okay, that's cool. I did like Machine Doll. Ore no Kanojo, Ange Vierge, Slow Start. That's a lot. Manga in particular. Boku wa Tomodachi, illustration. Mushi Uta, Snow Mist, Machine Doll, more Machine Doll. Okay. Director. Any other people? Okay. We have the full list now. Director. Shinji Ishihira. Also directed. This looks interesting, but it's a second season of something. Tsukigami Chibiku, Eden's Zero, whatever those are. Storyboarded BNAJ, and not just couple of episodes, also in other seasons and more episodes. Log Horizon, director of Log Horizon. Okay. Storyboard of Kekkai Sensen and Beyond. Some yaoi shows, Nanatsu no Taizai. Director and storyboard of the original Log Horizon, director of Log Horizon second season. Okay. Darker. Okay. I'm saying okay an awful lot. Storyboarder for Darker Than Black. What else? You got me interested. You got me curious. Anything else I recognize around these parts? Not really. But director of Log Horizon, that makes me hopeful. That makes me hopeful that there might be something in this show. Who else do I want to check out? Art director, absolutely. Art director Masahiro Sato. Masahiro Sato also did art design and art direction for Jashin-chan Dropkick, for Mahka Koko no Rettosei, for the C2C Isekai, another one. Art design for Recreators. If nothing else, art design in Recreators was really great. I got bored out of my mind with one of the episodes of Recreators and I dropped it. But I'm not averse to the idea of perhaps checking it out again sometime. Background for Yagata Kimi ni Naru, art for Hataraku Saibo Black, backgrounds for K-On! Movie, Mirai Nikki OVA art design for more Darker Than Black, background for Clanad, and some old anime that I have no way of knowing. Urusei Yatsura mechanical design. I guess I know it at least from the name. And there's a remake, I want to say, of Urusei Yatsura coming out this season, I think. Okay, so not a particularly huge portfolio, but he did work on Mahotsuka Koko no Rettosei, and he did work on Recreators and Darker Than Black, so that has to count for something. Who else? Editing, sure, I want to check out the editing. Animation director, sure. And we don't have particularly many more people. Editing of Tensei Shitara, also editing of Shangri-La, of Do It Yourself, of Healer Girl, Golden Kamui, Princess Principal, Crown Handler. Now got me interested. Both movies of Princess Principal. And of Princess Principal itself. And Symphogear G and GX. And original Symphogear. Not many roles, but very prominent ones. Evangelion movie editing. Full Metal Alchemist editing. Gothic. Interesting. Perhaps the first episode was just a dud, and the rest is going to be better. Eriko Kotobuki, animation director on Tensei and on other shows of the studio. Mostly. Also animator, second animator on Magi, and key animation on, I think it's like a Konosuba movie, Konosuba OVA, something around that. Anybody else I would like to check out? Let's see. There's another editor. Is it another editor? No, it's the same person. I got confused for a moment. Script. Sure, let's check out the script and the episode director. Script. Not many roles. Ninja Box, whatever that is. And episode director. What else did he direct? Episode director of Symphogear. That has to count for something. Episode director of Persona 4. Episode director of Hellsing OVA. Of some old shows that I don't know. Fairly low profile people working on it, it seems. So I guess I'm willing to overlook any deficiencies. And characters, voice actors. First and foremost, Shishou. I want to see who he's voiced by, because I know this voice. I mean, I know Shinichiro Miki, but okay, Lee Erishvorlergen, or however you pronounce his name, from Yojo Senki. Lee from Arknights, that's where I know this voice from. Urehara from Bleach. Torchwick from Ruby. Who else did he voice? Someone else that I recognize. Tanjiro from Kimetsu no Yaiba. Turkey from Dorodoro. James from Pokemon. Interesting. And who else? I remember that he had at least a couple of roles that I immediately recognize, besides Irish or Eric, or however we want to pronounce it again, from Yojo Senki. Can't wait for season 2 of Yojo Senki, by the by. I still have the movie to see. Miki Sugi from Kill la Kill, of course. That's the voice, that's the guy. Miki Sugi from Kill la Kill. A lot of Pokemon roles, it seems. Store manager from something. What the fuck is this character design? Minos from Sorato Otoshimono Forte. And Sorano Otoshimono. Bruce Wayne from Batman. Probably Japanese dubbing of Batman. That's 2006. And I think that'll do it. Yeah, that'll do it. So I know where I know this voice from, of course. Nudist Beach, mostly, and of course Irish, I don't know, from Yojo Senki. Fran is voiced by Ai Kakuma. Ai Kakuma, who also voiced... Let's see. Franca in Arknights. Fran and Franca. Interesting. Cool. Aiko from Arifureta. There we go. Immediately recognizable person. Who else? I see some... Okay, Strike Witches. The 501. The spin-off series, I think. A lot of those characters look like they come from gachas, besides Franca, of course. Takao, Azure Lane, Unicorn, Azure Lane. Those are gachas for sure. Leinas from Overlord. Okay. Sakura from Konohana Kitan. Lala from Monmusu. Metako from Oshiete Galko-chan. And who else? Isuzu Sento from Amaburi. Of course, that's her voice. Sana from Magi. And some other roles performing theme songs mostly. Now, those other characters we do not know, but I'm gonna check them out. I'm assuming the ones with pictures are going to be our teammates sooner or later. Amanda, voiced by Ami Koshimizu, who also voiced someone in Birdie Wing. I heard Birdie Wing is cool. Shiori from Princess Connect, G36, those Frontline, and no other characters that I seem to recognize. But some of them do look very gacha. Zima from Arc Knights, Yamashiro from Azure Lane, of course. Kallen Statfeld from Code Geass. And... okay, it's still loading. Nobody else. Lacus in Overlord. Hero from Darling in the Franxx. Some decently prominent roles. Holo from Eromanga Sensei. Wait, Holo from Eromanga Sensei? Did Holo have a guest appearance in Eromanga Sensei? That's a first. That's the first I hear of that. Yuisaki from Masamune-kun no Revenge. Tule from Gate. Kate from Prison School. Ryuko. Okay. Cool. I can't wait to hear her voice again, if that is the case. But wait, really? Ryuko? Ryuko is the same voice actress that voices Zima? Damn, I'm gonna have to level up Zima. Klimt, voiced by Wataru Hatano, who also voiced... nobody I would recognize so far. No. Doesn't ring any bells whatsoever. Yeah, I think that'll do it. I don't know if there's any point scrolling down any further. At least not for me, because I genuinely do not recognize. Okay, Hakia from Mikakuni the Shinkoke. That's the first person I recognize in this whole list of roles. I guess Spartos from Magi. Haven't seen the entirety of Magi either. So I don't know of all the characters. Yuta from Papa Kiki. Been ages since I've seen Papa Kiki last. And that'll do it, because I see, yeah, anime staff roles now. Donadrond, whoever he is, voiced by Tetsu Inada, who also voiced Edward in Yusha Yamemas. Haven't seen Yusha Yamemas, but I know of it. Voiced Inosuke from Sabiku Ibisco. Voiced a lot of dragons. No, it's just one dragon, Gross, but appearing in multiple series. Tanba from Dorodoro. Someone from Kimetsu no Yaiba, someone from Made in Abyss. Nappa from Dragon Ball. Someone from Gegege no Kitaro. Fudo Myo-o from Monster Strike, whatever that is. Cool design, though. Over Justice in Space Patrol Luluko. Okay, that's cool. I'm gonna look forward to that performance then. Ira Gamagori in Kill la Kill. They are really bringing in Kill la Kill talents, aren't they? And that'll do it. Galus, voiced by Shinpachi Tsuji, who also voices plenty of old men. Yeah, that's basically his role. He voices old dudes. Sergiat Cowan from Log Horizon. That's a role I recognize. Nobody else. Some of those roles don't even seem to be important enough to warrant a photo of the character. And the last one, Neru, voiced by Rumi Okubo. Rumi Okubo, who also voiced someone in Yusha Party wo yada yada yada. Belle from Shadow's House. Heard a lot of good about Shadow's House. Astolfo, Elizabeth Bathory from Fate, Grand Order. Mutsuki from Azure Lane. Some character from Precure, apparently. And I cannot say I recognize many more characters here. Tamako from Barakamon. I recognize Tamako. Kazuki Ferrari from Galilei Donna. Man, it's been a long time since I heard Galilei Donna even being mentioned. It's a show that I honestly don't know anybody who have seen Galilei Donna. It's crazy. There was absolutely nobody talking about it. And the weirdest thing is, it's actually a half decent show. Not like it's bad, not like it's completely forgettable. It had some cool ideas, it did some cool things. But nobody's talking about it. Chinatsu from Yuri Yuri. Theme song performance in Sabagebu. Okay. That's the staff, that's the characters. And anything else that needs to be said about it on this page? Sentai Filmworks, episode duration, popularity, producer, source, light novel, Reincarnated as a sword. Source is Tensei Shitara. Okay, source is light novel, but there also is a manga. So if the anime ends and I really want to read more of it, I can read the manga, and I can see recommended is Virus Tensei Kara Isekai. Virus Isekai. Can recommend, like, unironically, Virus Isekai is doing some interesting things. So can recommend it. And Reincarnated as a vending machine. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay. Oh, that's a cool shadow on my wall. You can see my ring light and my mic, I guess. And maybe I should crank up or turn off the exposure lock. Are you gonna flashbang my viewers now, or are you gonna behave? Neither, apparently. It's gonna remain very dark. Or can I, like, reset it somehow? No? Okay. I'm gonna look the way I'm looking. That was a rough first episode. I'm gonna be honest. It's doing some things I'm interested in. I certainly do want to see more, if only to give it the chance of like 3 episodes. But not gonna lie, it only started getting interesting like halfway through. I have a feeling they might have known that the first part is a bit of a slog, so they tried to condense it into half an episode so that from now on we can get into the meat and bones of the main dish, and we can start going through the things that are actually interesting and actually cool. But I don't know. I'm not familiar with the source material, so I cannot say about what exactly they're planning to do here. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna watch the second episode for sure whenever it comes out, and I guess I'm gonna form my opinion then, because in this episode Ultimately, not much really happened. It was just a bunch of bullshit nothing that has to justify why this sword is overpowered. And then it's the cat girl finding the sword. And that's essentially it. I don't really have much to say about it. So we're gonna have to wait a week and see where it takes us. But maybe you have a stronger opinion on the topic, and if so, please do share in the comments below. What did you think of this episode, my reaction, my theories? No spoilers, please, whether a show is good or bad or mediocre. I don't want spoilers. I'm gonna see it myself. I'm gonna form my own opinion, so please don't spoil. If you do want to talk about the show, with spoilers included, you can join my Discord. Link is here also in the description. Spoil to your heart's content in the Discord as long as you use spoiler tags. There's going to be a channel made for this show, so you can go there to talk about it. Like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it, but tell me why so I can improve. Subscribe to the channel to be notified of future releases of not only Tensei Shitara and Deshita, but also Madoka Magica Symphogear Axis that's gonna start coming out very soon. Also, Gundam Witch from Mercury and other shows I'm gonna be watching during the season. You can check out the VOD of my live stream where I was going through all the shows coming out this season and picking and choosing some of them that I will watch. You can support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon or Throne. On Patreon for $10 a month you get early access to non-seasonals like Madoka, like Symphogear, and for just $1 you get a role on the Discord, and you also get a place in the credits that are gonna be appearing very shortly. On Throne you get pitch in towards my purchase of better lighting, better camera, perhaps one that doesn't flashbang you in the middle of the recording. And if you don't want to spend any money whatsoever, you can share my content, spread the word. It costs nothing and helps the channel an awful lot. 5%, over 5% of traffic to my channel comes from Reddit, for example, and like 1 4/10 of traffic comes from WhatsApp. So sharing my stuff really does help. It has a genuine, tangible effect on the amount of people who visit my channel and watch my content. And with that, we can stop it, and we can end the recording, and that's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one, whatever it might be. Cheers! And here's the list of Patreons. You can join it, and you don't need to be isekai'd to do that, as if that would be a requirement.